everyone, this is Tony from her Homestead Skills, and first and foremost I would like to say that my thoughts and prayers are with those of Kentucky. I understand that there was serious flash floods there yesterday and maybe an ongoing issue there, and a few people have lost their lives, and Lord knows there's been a lot of property damage and a lot of losses. You know, there are some things we just cannot prepare for. And when God calls us home, we're going home. So, anyway, on a lighter note, my firm belief is we should still prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And today I'm canning up a batch of corn that I picked up from one of my local markets. They're becoming a little more few and far between, and this is not from a store but from a farmer's stand. Anyway, this corn was absolutely gorgeous. I also picked up a watermelon and ate a big chunk of it. Yes, as soon as I got it yesterday. So, anyway, today the project is to can up this corn, and hope you'll join me. And some corn. Now, this is probably just the beginning of the corn that I will can, but these look lovely from the outside, but we'll have to cut them open to determine how good they are. So today the job is to can these up, and yes, they look gorgeous. Now, I can't grow corn in my little garden for a number of reasons. I did try once, and the birds got them as soon as they started to get nice, and secondly, my plot is way too tiny for that. So I either plant tomatoes or corn, and I opt for tomatoes because I can get a better return on that. Oh yes, these are gorgeous cobs of corn. We do not go through a lot of corn, but I like to always have some on hand and not have to buy any. Now, there we go. Aren't those beautiful? Okay. Oh, that one was too low. I'm absolutely thrilled with the quality of these. Okay, so I'm going to get these all shucked, and then I'm going to get the kernels off the cob. Oh, and corn is the reason I wanted to pressure can in the first place, and the reason I got a pressure canner in the first place. I really wanted to be able to can my own corn. So, here we are. Now that one's interesting. It had the little side corn growing off it. Unfortunately, that isn't big enough for anything. Now, I do have some corn growing in my garden, but it is decorative corn. So, I understand that the birds do not go after that. At least that's what I've been told. We'll just have to see if that's actually the case. So I decided for fun this year that I would put some decorative corn and some gourds in my garden, and I've seen that both are producing. So, and yes, decorative corn can be eaten, but it's apparently very hard. It's beautifully colored corn. I don't intend to make flour out of it. At least that's not what I intend this year, but we'll hopefully harvest some and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to continue along here. Okay, so I have pulled out, what is it, a bunt pan? The only thing I have ever used this for was to cut kernels off corn cobs. So I picked this one up at Dollarama. They're always available at thrift shops as well, but they are really useful for this job. So it allows me to keep the corn cob in place and to collect all the little corn when I cut them off. I don't know if you can see this. Let's try it from a different direction here. Okay. And there's all my corn there. Easily gathered. Now, I have found this the easiest way. There may be other ways, but to me this was the easiest and cleanest way to get my corn off the cob. And you can go this way as well if you want. Perfect. And if you don't cut the end off totally on your corn cob, that'll hold it in place there as well. But looks like I cut the end off mine right away. Okay, I'm just going to empty all of this into a bowl now. Sweet corn. all my corn done. Okay, so this time I have prepared absolutely, I believe, everything I need here. I've got my canner on the stove with 3 quarts of water, and it is getting ready to boil. I've got my lids here in some hot water, just not hot water, not boiling, not anything like that. Got my little container of vinegar. I have my paper towels here for my vinegar wipes. Now, also some salt and a teaspoon here. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt in every jar as well. Okay, here we go. I have 15 jars. I have absolutely no idea how many this will take. Now, the issue here is how full do I want to make these jars? And I only want to fill them up as much as Mark and I will eat in one meal. I really don't want them tossed, so I'm going to do these perhaps 2/3 full, like that. And that's enough for a serving for the 2 of us. Rather than fill them up to the top and have them thrown out when we go to eat them because there's too many, I'd rather do it this way. Especially this day and age, you don't want to be throwing out food. So I'm going to fill each of these jars to about 3/4 full. Now, of course, if I had a larger family, I would probably fill these up a little bit more than that. And when you think about it, a scoop like that is definitely a serving. So, 2 large scoops gives me the required amount that I want. And I suppose I could use half-pint jars, but I suspect that half-pint jars would not give me enough. So here I am. And as I suspected, almost a cob per jar. I would be 1 short of, I've only got a little bit left, so once again I'm just going to add a bit more in a few jars. And this is partially why I like to fill my jars before I put a lid on single ones. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 jars. I'm happy with that. And this would just be the first batch that I'd be working on, so there will be more. I just wanted to try a smaller batch before I committed because some corn is nice and some corn is not. This corn is lovely. I will go back for more of this. Okay, and I will be putting a teaspoon of salt in every jar. Now, you can also put sugar in this. I'm not going to bother, but sometimes when we boil this up for dinner, we'll put a tablespoon of honey, and you've got the sweetest corn you can imagine. I think that's what they do with the canned corn. They add some sort of sweetener in it to give it that sweet, sweet, sweet taste. Okay. So there is my salt, and now I'm just going to fill this up with water. Okay, and I use my trusty chopstick to get all the air out. Now, I'd imagine if you buy a can of corn, this is probably the same amount that you would get of corn in a can. So, okay, make sure there's no air, and we're probably going to top up the water in some of these jars after doing this. Next on the agenda, vinegar, and we're going to clean our rims. And here you just have to make sure that you have none of the silk from the corn sitting on the edge. You can't always clean all the silk out of the corn. I think I got most of it. But I did notice when I was filling up these jars that there was a little bit of silk sitting on the edge of one of them. So yeah, that's something you want to make sure that you remove, because that will prevent a seal. Yes, there's one there. Good. Lids and rings. Okay, I've put all my corn in the canner. I've got 2 layers with a divider in between them. I'm going to be pressure canning these for 55 minutes for pints, and it would be 85 minutes for quarts. So, once again, we put the lid on, wait for the airlock to come up. Once the airlock has come up, we know that we're going to have steam coming out of the vent, and we let this vent for a good solid 10 minutes. Once that has done, we put the weight on the vent. I'm just going to put it beside there right now, and then we bring it up to 10-11 pounds pressure, and we pressure can for 55 minutes. Okay, that is the process. Okay, this is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. I hope you enjoyed this video. I at least found it informative, and hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.